George Washington's angelic visitation. Son of the Republic, look and learn. George Washington, 1732 to 1799, was the first President of the United States from 1789 to 1797, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. He was one of the founding fathers of the United States and presided over the convention that drafted the Constitution. Washington was born into the provincial gentry of colonial Virginia. His wealthy planter family owned tobacco plantations and slaves. But after both his father and older brother died when he was young, Washington instead chose a career as a surveyor and soldier. And he was chosen by the Second Continental Congress in 1775 to be Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army in the American Revolution. Wikipedia. The American Revolution was an ideological and political revolution that occurred in British America between 1765 and 1791. The Americans in the 13 colonies formed independent states that defeated the British in the American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783, gaining independence from the British Crown and establishing the United States of America, the first modern constitutional democracy. Historians laud Washington for his selection and supervision of his generals, encouragement of morale and ability to hold together the army, coordination with the state governors and state militia units, relations with Congress, and attention to supplies, logistics, and training. The angelic visitation of George Washington. During the dark days of the American Revolution, George Washington was cheered by a spiritual experience of extraordinary potency. The story was reported by Anthony Sherman as it was told to him by General Washington himself. It was originally published by Wesley Bradshaw, but later appeared in the National Tribune of 1880. Sherman reported that it was a chilly winter's day with a cloudless sky and bright sunshine in the year 1777. General Washington had remained alone in his quarters all afternoon. When he came out, he looked pale and shaken. After some hesitation, he eventually felt compelled to tell Sherman exactly what had happened. The prophecy was delivered to him by an angel, a spirit being. The spirit described 3 great crises for the American nation. The first was the Revolution and its likely outcome, which was then in full swing. The second would occur well after Washington's death and was the Civil War. But there was a third. The National Tribune, Volume 4, Number 12, December 1880, quoted in Breakthrough to Creativity, Dr. Shafika Karagula. I do not know whether it is owing to the anxiety of my mind or what, but this afternoon, as I was sitting at this table, engaged in preparing a dispatch, something seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld standing opposite me a singularly beautiful female. So astonished was I, for I had given strict orders not to be disturbed, that it was some moments before I found language to inquire the cause of her presence. A second, a third, and even a fourth time did I repeat my question, but received no answer from my mysterious visitor, except a slight raising of her eyes. By this time, I felt strange sensations spreading through me. I would have risen, but the riveted gaze of the being before me rendered volition impossible. I essayed once more to address her, but my tongue had become useless. Even thought itself had become paralyzed. A new influence, mysterious, potent, irresistible, took possession of me. All I could do was to gaze steadily, vacantly at my unknown visitant. Gradually the surrounding atmosphere seemed as though becoming filled with sensations, and grew luminous. Everything about me seemed to rarefy, the mysterious visitor herself becoming more airy and yet more distinct to my sight than before. I now began to feel as one dying, or rather to experience the sensations which I have sometimes imagined accompany dissolution. I did not think, I did not reason, I did not move. All were alike impossible. I was only conscious of gazing fixed, vacantly at my companion. Presently, I heard a voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn," while at the same time my visitor extended her arm eastwardly. I now beheld a heavy white vapour at some distance rising fold upon fold. This gradually dissipated, and I looked upon a strange scene. Before me lay opened out in one vast plain all the countries of the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. I saw rolling and tossing between Europe and America the billows of the Atlantic, and between Asia and America lay the Pacific. "Son of the Republic," said the same mysterious voice as before, "look and learn." At that moment I beheld a dark, shadowy being, like an angel, standing or rather floating in mid-air between Europe and America, dipping water out of the ocean in the hollow of each hand. He sprinkles some upon America with his right hand, while with his left hand he casts some on Europe. Immediately a cloud raised from these countries and joined in mid-ocean. For a while it remained stationary, and then moved slowly westward until it enveloped America in its murky folds. Sharp flashes of lightning gleamed through it at intervals, and I heard the smothered groans and cries of the American people. A second time the angel dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it out as before. The dark cloud was then drawn back to the ocean, in whose heaving billows it sank from view. A third time I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." I cast my eyes upon America and beheld villages and towns and cities springing up one after another, until the whole land from the Atlantic to the Pacific was dotted with them. Again I heard the mysterious voice say, "Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn." At this the dark shadowy angel turned his face southward, and from Africa I saw an ill-omened spectre approach our land. It flitted slowly over every town and city of the latter. The inhabitants presently sat themselves in battle array against each other. As I continued looking, I saw a bright angel, on whose brow rested a crown of light, on which was traced the word Union, bearing the American flag, which he placed between the divided nation, and said, "Remember, we are brethren." Instantly, the inhabitants, casting from them their weapons, became friends once more and united around the national standard. And again I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." At this, the dark, shadowy angel placed a trumpet to his mouth and blew 3 distinct blasts, and taking water from the ocean, he sprinkled it upon Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then my eyes beheld a fearful sea. From each of these countries arose thick, black clouds that were soon joined into one, and throughout this mass there gleamed a dark red light, by which I saw hordes of armed men who moved with the cloud, marched by land, and sailed by sea to America, which country was enveloped in the volume of cloud. And I dimly saw these vast armies devastate the whole country and burn the villages, towns, and cities that I beheld spring up, as my ears listened to the thundering of the cannon, clashing of swords, and the shouts and cries of millions in mortal combat. I again heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." When the voice had ceased, the dark, shadowy angel placed his trumpet once more to his mouth and blew a long and fearful blast. Instantly a light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above me, and pierced and broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. At the same moment the angel upon whose head still shone the word Union, and who bore our national flag in one hand and a sword in the other, descended from the heavens, attended by legions of white spirits. These immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceived were well nigh overcome, but who immediately, taking courage again, closed up their broken ranks and renewed the battle. Again, amid the fearful noise of the conflict, I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." As the voice ceased, the shadowy angel, for the last time, dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it upon America. Instantly the dark cloud rolled back, together with the armies it had brought, leaving the inhabitants of the land victorious. Then once more I beheld the villages, towns, and cities springing up where I had seen them before, while the bright angel, planting the azure standard he had brought in the midst of them, cried with a loud voice, "While the stars remain and the heavens send down dew upon the earth, so long shall union last." And taking from his brow the crown on which blazoned the word Union, he placed it upon the standard, while the people, kneeling down, said, "Amen." The scene instantly began to fade and dissolve, and I at last saw nothing but the rising, curling vapour I at first beheld. This also disappearing, I found myself once more gaping upon the mysterious visitor, who in the same voice I had heard before said, "Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic. The most fearful is the 3rd, passing which the whole world united shall not prevail against her. Let every child of the Republic learn to live for his God, his land and union." With these words, the vision vanished, and I started from my seat, and I felt that I had seen a vision wherein had been shown me the birth, progress, and destiny of the United States. The aftermath. After victory had been finalized in 1783, Washington resigned as Commander-in-Chief, and in 1787 Washington presided over the Constitutional Convention that drafted the United States Constitution. Washington was elected President in 1788-9 and served 2 terms in office. He proclaimed the United States neutral in the wars raging in Europe after 1793, avoided war with Great Britain, and guaranteed a decade of peace and profitable trade by securing the Jay Treaty in 1795. John Jay is shown here. He retired from the presidency in 1797 and returned to his home, Mount Vernon, freeing all his slaves. He achieved all this even though he was in pain from dental problems, for which he took laudanum, and being poisoned by mercury oxide, which he was given by doctors to treat illnesses such as smallpox and malaria. This distress may be apparent in many of the portraits painted while he was still in office. Washington died at home around 10 p.m. on Saturday, December the 14th, 1799, aged 67.